Welcome back to Between Two Cars. My name's Kyle Orr, and this is my partner, Matt, the Skinny Walrus, Maxwell.
That's right, skinny boys.
That's right. He's been working out, eating good, losing a little lbs here, but get ready for summertime. Want to talk about what we're doing here in this coming week. We have sponsored Sucker Days for Nexa. For you guys that don't know what Sucker Days is, it's how long they say it is?
It's how long they've had it?
Yeah.
Like forever. I mean, it's been like 100
I think
years
it's been here since the town started in Nexa, Missouri.
Yeah.
So we're pretty excited. It's the first time that either of us, and we've been in this area, we've never went, but there's tens of thousands of people that show up to this event every year.
Huge. They like that sucker fish, man.
Yeah, so it's sucker is actually a fish for
right.
the world that doesn't know what that is.
I didn't know what it was.
But
It's like fish?
it's a community gathering, and there'll be tons of vendors and things like that. They've got kiddie rides and all kinds of good stuff.
Beer, kiddie rides.
And it's sponsored by our favorite people, the Chamber of Commerce, next Chamber of Commerce. So,
that's right.
And Bat and I are the Auto Parlor is actually the gold sponsor for that. So
We're excited.
you want to go ahead and tell them what we're doing?
I don't know, should we? Are you excited about this? I think this is a
We
great
could
thing.
keep it a secret. We could keep it.
Well, we can't keep this as a secret. So here's the thing. We are raffling off a Toyota Sequoia. It's a $10 entry fee. Raffle, that's it, $10. I mean, my gosh, and you can win a new car, or not a new car, but you can win a car. It's a
a
pre-owned
new car to you.
Right. I'm pumped. This thing, we had one of our great customers decided to bring that vehicle to us. We bought it from him. We're like, hey, you know what? Why not give away a Toyota Sequoia at Sucker Days, man? Help out everybody. This thing, it's just so you know, if you don't know what a Toyota Sequoia is, it's an 8-passenger vehicle.
Yep.
Okay, so you can fit a lot of in there. 3 of me or a lot of people. That's what you can fit in there.
But yeah, it's considered a large SUV segment. So,
Right. So
but for $10, I mean, when was the last time somebody bought a car for $10?
and just so you know, a part of the money is going back to the chamber. So we're going to help promote the chamber since they're giving since they're part of the Sucker Day. So we thought we'd give that money back to the community. So I think this would be a great event for everybody. Somebody can come in. You can win a car, and then you go home with some fish and a car. I mean, what better than that, right?
Yeah, and we'll have ways to pay. We're working through the logistics. On Monday, we'll set kind of how that thing goes. But I'm sure people want to pay cash with $10, so we'll have a cash way of doing it, or a Venmo account where you can literally just scan the QR code and be a part of that. And you don't have to be at Sucker Days, although I would highly advise going there because it's much more than just a car giveaway. In order to win that, we'll announce the winner with the chamber the following Monday. So it'll be Monday the 20th or something like that.
Yeah, 21st, I think. And we'll do it live on Facebook probably when we announce
live
it.
on Facebook, so you guys know that
there's no limit about how many tickets you want. So if you decide you want to buy 10 tickets, that's fine. It's all going to a big raffle. I mean, so the more tickets you buy, who knows?
Yeah,
your odds do get a little bit better. It's kind of like the lottery.
Although I always like the guy that wins that only bought one ticket. I think that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
So it'd be awesome if it goes to somebody that can really use a vehicle and just doesn't have the means to doing that. But
we just I you know what? I appreciate the fact that we're able to do this. This is gonna be a fun deal. We're gonna have a tent out there. We'll have a place Friday, Saturday, and Sunday where you can come up. You can register there as well. We'll probably have a poster out there with the QR code. So if we're not there, you can still register to win the vehicle. And then we'll have hopefully the vehicle's right now going through the reconditioning process with the Eagle Pride. That's our partner. And he's making sure that vehicle's standing tall. And then we will, you just spilled your water.
I'm just dumping water everywhere.
Hey, this is in our new podcast room too. That's okay. We're good. Yeah. But anyway, he's going through it, making sure that it's mechanically sound as best we can. And we're excited to have this thing.
Yeah, we're not giving away a brand new car, but we are trying to give away something that's reliable, that we trust, that whoever gets it should trust.
Should be able to use it for
So
hauling them kiddos around sucker days.
yeah, that'll be a great deal.
Yeah.
But enough about sucker days. Let's get on to something more important. How about Tom Brady?
The roast.
The roast. I'm sure we're not the only podcast talking about Tom Brady.
He did pretty well on that thing. I don't know if you watched it on Netflix. It's on Netflix. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. Kyle I think you finished it, didn't you?
Yeah, so I'm finishing it. I get through sections of it, and then my wife decides she wants to watch it. Then I have to pause it, mess around with Willow for a little bit, and then go back and watch it. So I finally got through to it, but
just so you know, it's not for little children. There's some very outgoing language and terminology that goes on this thing. So anyway, you want to watch
Tommy Boy's the man. I'm a Tom Brady fan now.
Yeah.
Especially his final comments about Taylor Swift and the Chiefs. It's great.
I haven't seen it yet, but here's the deal. We're going to three-peat. That's all I know. Mahomes, three-peat.
We'll see. There's another Midwest team coming after you.
Cincinnati. That's what he's talking about.
So
Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Bengals.
But no,
weren't the Bengals a band or something of all women?
Yes,
the Bengals?
They were.
Okay, all right.
Yes, they were.
I thought so.
But in all seriousness, though, there's something that people need to probably take from that Brady deal. Him going up there. One, it was a dream of his, which I thought was really cool because here you've got a guy who's just literally worked. I mean, he's considered the best quarterback of
right
our
now,
time, right?
Yeah, you're right. Right now.
I mean, that's up. You know, Patrick Mahomes is out there to whatever. I mean, he doesn't have
records are meant to be broken, but he's still a top. He's still right now. Tom Brady's the best quarterback that's ever played the game.
I mean, he's considered.
No one's beat his records
right?
yet. Huh?
He's like the Michael Jordan of football.
Yeah, no one's beat his records yet or anything like that. So,
and here he is. You know, if you've never watched those roasts, though, man, I'm telling you, they get just deep and personal on that. And I'm sitting there thinking about, you know, this guy's confidence level and where he's at and where in life is just astronomical. I mean, he loses his wife, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how confident he was after that roast.
Well, I'm telling you, if you watch when he stands up and he talks, and you know, it's all in good humor. I mean, they were stabbing him, you know, pretty good about some personal. I don't know that I could have withstood what he went through, but man, here's the thing: they get up there and they talk about him, and they're like, "Hey, Tom Brady's never had a drink with, you know, he doesn't drink a lot of alcohol or anything like that." I mean, this guy is motivated to do life.
Well, no, the last time he got drunk, you saw what he did, right?
Yeah, he threw the Super Bowl.
He threw this Lombardi trophy across the lake there in the, I don't know if it was a lake or whatever in Tampa Bay, but probably Tampa Bay, the canal. But anyway, no, he is probably one of the best athletes ever. Very healthy guy.
And
he
he's
takes
so
care of his
driven.
body.
He's so driven to be the person that he wants to be. And I think the world needs to take some of that. I mean, even though people are saying all this stuff about it, he doesn't quit. I mean, it just doesn't quit.
Well, no, he's a sixth round draft pick.
Yeah.
And then they were teasing him about how he got his start. Okay, so what? The guy got hurt, next man up, right? That's what happens. And guess what? He took to make the most of it and became the best quarterback that's ever played the game.
Well,
now, if Bledsoe never gets hurt, does he ever play?
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. I mean, we might not have seen what we saw.
Right. And the world needs people like that. I mean, I'll tell you, that strength and motivation and his drive level is what people need to get back to. And it was also nice to see that we had some comedy of comedians and podcasters and athletes, professional people up there, and they were able to say exactly what they wanted to say And everybody walked away with smiles on their faces versus canceling them out and, bashing them for what they were saying.
Yeah. It's like a contest up there. You got all those comedians and stuff up there. They come up, who can come up with the nastiest or the best
one, yeah,
the best one or whatever. There's another thing I want to talk about too. Is there's a quote by Mike Tyson. I was
Iron
watching
Mike.
the deal. Iron Mike. I don't know if I put it on Facebook, but and I thought it was a great quote. Right? Do the thing you hate the most, like you love it.
Yeah.
And he was talking
Although
about.
I think that was Muhammad Ali.
It might have been. No, well, I saw Tyson say it in the podcast. He just said,
"Oh, did he?"
Yeah. And he's sitting there saying, he goes, "Hey, you think I wanted to get up every morning and go sit there at 4 a.m. and go run and box? And I love boxing, but it's the work, and it's the work that you put behind the scenes and what makes you great. We only see like Tom Brady play on Sunday for 3 hours, and we just think, okay, hey, he didn't. You don't see all the hard work."
Oh, yeah.
That all these guys
the sacrifices he's made.
Yeah, all of them. I mean, the Michael Jordan shooting, 10,000 free throws or whatever it is after the basketball game, or if he missed a shot, he always went back to practice and kept trying to perfect the shot. Tiger Woods.
Right.
I mean, the guy's half bionic right now, right? He doesn't even have a leg, and he's still trying to figure it out.
They're not out Rashid Rice in it.
No, they're not. Rashid Rice is done. That guy needs to go bye-bye, in my opinion. But
good
anyway,
for him. His bad decision.
But but those guys made bad decisions too. I mean, Mike Tyson,
Just not on that level.
Well, Mike Tyson did.
I mean, he bit an ear off, but
I mean, that's
what's wrong with that? I mean, everybody bites an ear off.
He went to prison. Okay, so
yeah, what did he go to prison for? To train to beat Jake Paul's ass.
No, yeah, he's something to do with I can't remember tax evasion or some, I don't remember what it was. It might have been some with his wife too. I don't remember because they had a bad divorce too. But but anyway, but that's not what everybody remembers, right? Think about all that stuff. I mean, Tiger Woods.
Well,
what happened to him.
He came back. Here's the thing: if you do something, you make a mistake. Human beings just make mistakes, right? We do it daily. But just ask my wife. But the deal is if you do something that you regret, you need to go out and do more things that you won't regret.
Yeah.
And what you're alluding to is all these people have had some turmoil or a part in their life where they made some bad decisions, but they've overcome them and got back on track.
They went back to what got them successful.
Yeah, Tiger, Tom.
They all did. They went back to the basics. We've heard that in our careers, right? Back to the basics and start over. I mean, heck, our founder who started the VT, I believe, hopefully I'm correct, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he went bankrupt twice. And ended up becoming a billionaire selling cars. So there's you gotta be aggressive, I think, in life, but you also
He's
have
not
to
our
be
founder.
Well, no, not ours, but I said VT.
Former company.
And I think that's what you gotta do is you gotta just never give up. And you just got to keep on going. You're going to get thrown some curveballs. I've gotten some curveballs thrown at me. And you just got to keep on going, just like everything else.
And the reason that I wanted to bring that up is because this is graduation month, right, for a lot of people.
Yep. My daughter's graduating with her master's degree, folks. She's doing a good job. I'm proud of her.
Yeah, so, in graduation time, it's inevitable that wherever you're at, high school, college level, getting your master's degree, that's amazing, by the way. You're going to have some kind of speaker or guest speaker that comes up there, and they're going to walk you through some principles of life as they see it to give you some kind of motivation to go out there and chase your dreams. Mm-hmm. And, I'm not saying go on and get roasted by like Tom Brady did. But, man, if you are successful enough to get a roast about you, you've done something. Even the owner of the Patriots got up there and roasted Tom. And I just think you need to take listen to those people and the motivation behind them to go out and I encourage anybody, I didn't go out. Well, one, I didn't think I was going to be a used car salesman, let alone ever own a used car dealership, but absolutely love it, try new things. And we're all the time creative around here with coming up with new stuff with Bracken and Brad and Matt.
We're always thinking about what can we do, what's next.
What can make us different, right?
Well, the reason I pulled my phone up, Kyle gave me this book, and I wanted to say this on there. I'm going to give this to my daughter, too. And I think this book probably should be a book that you need to read in either high school or college. It needs to be a requirement.
Yeah.
I really do. It's called Breaking Free from Broke. Okay, it's by author is George Camel. Is that how you say it, Camel?
George Camel.
Probably, and I'm 51 years old. It's probably it's one of my top books. I mean, the Bible's number one. This is a 2 or a 3. So it's I think anybody that wants to be and learn how to understand, well, one, life, but two, money. That book right there is going to help you get through that.
I recommend getting that book on the audio version because George Camel is actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
It makes it
easy to listen to.
Yeah, he makes it easy to listen to. It's pretty entertaining.
It is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it's a phenomenal book, and it needs to be. They don't teach you in life. He talks about this. We're talking about graduation, right? So you go to school, and the first thing is they say the American dream is supposed to have a college degree. That's not the American dream. That's the, and I thought that. I grew up that way. Hey, you're supposed to go to high school. My dad, shouldn't have done this, but my dad told us we wouldn't be anywhere if we didn't have a college degree. Well, he grew up extremely poor, and that's what he thought was happening. That
was a generational belief,
right? And so, but I didn't finish college and stuff, and I got in the car business. But what he teaches you though is just how to get the student loan aspect of it, how they get you there, how they get you on the credit card.
Basically, every major financial decision you'll make in your life, he covers.
It's phenomenal, and there's stuff in there I learned. I'm sitting there going, oh, I wish I would have known that.
Well, there's stuff in there people at any age can learn, but George Camel came from Dave Ramsey. He's on his show quite a bit. I don't know if he co-hosts that.
Yeah, he does.
Or what he does.
He says in the book he does it.
But he actually has a website and stuff. I like Dave Ramsey, and I get the principles that he does. I prefer to listen to George Camel put it in his perspective. I think it's a little bit more
easier,
relatable for people to grasp on versus the harsh thing of, Dave kind of smacks you with, you've got to do this thing.
Well, he gives you examples, like walking through, like, okay, hey, here, and gives you examples of the bad decisions and what it costs you. Mm-hmm. Dave Ramsey really doesn't do that. Dave Ramsey says these are the rules.
Well, the other thing is that George was that guy, right? Yeah. He explains to you that he started off making kind of that bad decision.
But he caught himself early.
Yeah, he caught himself.
And it doesn't matter if you're 60 years old and you catch yourself; you still can fix your decisions. It doesn't matter how old you are. So, because life is that fast. I mean, you can change something that quick. So, I highly recommend.
Short.
Yeah, I highly recommend. I highly recommend if you're watching this and you want to change something in your life financially and have more freedom. That's the first book you pick up and get or listen to and go from there, especially if you're coming out of college.
Yeah, and if you guys, so that's the type of material that I prefer to listen to. I could probably give you a good selection, so anybody that's interested in hearing about some different books, read that one first. But if you want more material, I can point you in the right direction. I probably listen to 1 to 2 audio books a week. Matt was just actually making fun of me in the office because he's like, I thought I read a lot. He reads a lot more.
I'm like, my gosh. And I try to read books all the time, but that's good for you. If you put down the TV and listen to a book or read a book, you're going to get you're getting a lot more out of it than the mind-numbing TV stuff that you listen to. But If you're, I just want to tell everybody, if you're noticing some background noise, we are actually, this is the first podcast we're having in our new podcast room. It's still about 90% done, I'd say. We're getting the lighting put up, and
I'd say 80 to 90%. So.
We're gonna have we're gonna have it's a studio, but we're gonna have the garage doors put in to where we can see stuff, and I mean it's gonna be pretty neat. So we'll probably have shirts and hats and things like that for sale.
And we actually do have those items right now. We have a bunch of people ask, but we've got hats, we've got podcast shirts, we've got auto parlor shirts, we've got swag bags, all kinds of different stuff. That is available for you.
It'll be out at Sucker Days. We'll have some of this stuff out.
We'll have some of it out there. We do sell that because we use those contributions to go to a guy that helps us out a lot, and it helps in a small business supplement the costs and the salary that that we can't quite provide for him at the moment, but. And that's who we're talking about. Brecken. So shirts around about $25 a piece. Hats are close to 30, and
they're good quality stuff.
Yeah, it's all the same material that like Lululemon and stuff uses. So it's not, you're not getting just a Hanes T-shirt with an iron press on logo on it. I mean, it's pretty good stuff. So
yeah, we'll have our shoe lineup out here probably in another month or so.
Shoe lineup.
we're getting
the auto parlor logo would look good on a shoe though, because it's circle. So
let's talk about Kyle. Let's talk about the thing that probably got us the most phone calls this week. You wrote an expert on a little clip on your if you remember on your
Facebook
page about some stuff that was going on. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sorry if I look like I'm drinking a lot of water here. I've been through some sinus infection that's lasted probably about 10 days. I'd never drink vodka. It'd be bourbon. But, we had a lot of phone calls. I guess it was just last week.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, which is good, but I'll let him explain kind of what's going on, and I'll chime in my little expert after that.
Yeah. Well, let me kind of walk through here. So, being a leader and being a manager first you've got to figure out how to differentiate those two things, okay? A manager is a made position, okay? A manager is a made position to take on responsibility for a company. A leader is something that you're displaying every day, and that's inside, outside of work, behind closed doors, in front of a crowd of people. That is a leader. And so what he's referring to is that situation in another store. We have a lot of people we've been in the car business with. They have reached out to us because they did not know what they were going to do. They just knew that they couldn't stay in the spot that they were in. And so I sent out a fairly long Facebook post to help those people and point some encouragement to, hey, if you don't like where you're at today, I got news for you. You only get one chance in life. Change it. Change it. If you don't, there's plenty of jobs out there. You'll figure out some people you connect good with, okay? And it may not be the ideal job or situation or pay or whatever it is, but if you are fed up with bad management, quit your job and go find something else. The world has provided, especially in the United States, there's no reason why somebody should be stuck unhappy where they're at.
Yeah. So he's been diplomatic about it a little bit. A lot of these people that reached out to us were former employees. Some weren't. Some were at a different store. But we all knew them from the car business. and they didn't know what to do. Right? They were in a situation where they felt the culture was bad, the leadership wasn't there, the guidance wasn't there, the training wasn't there, but the pointing the fingers was there. Now, and I'm not saying everything's not their fault. They're responsible to produce, right? When you go into a sales job like that, or any job, you're supposed to do your job, right? But when you're so frustrated and you're not getting any direction from anybody, it's hard to do your job. Would you not agree with that? I mean, it's hard to sit there and it makes it tougher, I guess.
It's a fail from a top type deal.
So
I mean, here's the thing: if you're in a place and the culture is that when you walk in, everybody's smiling, it's happy, everybody knows what their position and their role is, okay, and you're high-fiving and laughing. You've got a good work life and home life balance, okay? You're physically in shape, in good condition, you're reading and learning and stuff. You walk into that environment, those people excel, okay? We like the Chicago Bulls. It's one team that Matt and I can agree on, okay? Just think about that championship team. When the Bulls were on, they were on, okay? And like every good team, sometimes you have some turmoil you have to take care of. You would notice that in their games, too. You knew when something in the locker room was different just by watching those players play. But they did a good job. There's a lot of great leaders on that team, right? Mm-hmm. They turned it around, and then you saw the performance of what happens. It's the same thing in an everyday work environment. So if your managers are walking in, and they're not happy, and then they're relaying that message to the employee, and the employee's not happy, right? And guys that aren't in the car business, those big franchise dealers, I'm telling you what, it is like wildfire when drama comes around, okay? Because it's not only car sales that they do there. You have a body shop, you've got service departments. I mean, you've got
service, 7 different businesses there: body shop, parts, service, sales,
accounting department, finance department,
detail department. You've got, I mean, it's a huge business. It's not just, okay, hey, we're out here to sell cars. It's a multi-million-billion-dollar business, just one store.
Yep.
On those franchise stores. So that's why it's not easy to buy one. But it is. You're right. It's the drama there. It's sad because I spent 20. Well, I'm on my 28th year in the car business, so I spent 27 years in that type of environment, and I've got a lot of friends and people that I consider family and friends still in that environment. They call and they want to talk about, okay, hey, how, why'd you get out, or why'd you guys decide to do what you're doing? How'd you do it? Well, we just did it. Number one, we got fed up with it, just did it. But we did have a game plan. We didn't just, here we go. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, so we worked on it for a while, but it's the guys that it's kind of crazy because we left, right? We were the leaders, and now we're watching the guys that should step up and lead, and they're not. And you're like, okay, hey, how did we fail them? I look at it that way. We failed them and somehow. What did we do? Maybe we just they didn't buy into what we were doing, I guess,
yeah.
or what it was. But it's sad because we spent a lot of time. Some of those guys I spent 8-9 years training, and to watch them not grow, and to watch them I guess I shouldn't say watch because we're not watching them, but hearing the things that they're doing. You're like, okay, well, we didn't, maybe what could I have done differently to help motivate this person to be a different person today? But it's the shoes and the balls in their court too. Let me tell you,
and I'll interrupt you on this thing, okay? There is a difference between somebody calling themselves a leader and reading about leadership
and doing
and passing that information and talking and holding other people accountable to something they don't hold themselves accountable, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to walk the walk and talk the talk, You need to make sure you're doing those things
Right.
first.
And that's what they're
Nobody
not
wants to
doing.
believe a guy that says, hey,
And that's what they're
nobody
not
wants to believe a guy that says, hey, I read this book. This is what you need to do. And then they watch you go out and do the opposite thing.
Right.
You got to lead by example. I mean, it's common sense,
100%.
right?
Well, you think it is. You think it's common sense, but it's not. I mean, and that's why I think it's so hard to find good leaders, because you got fake leaders, right? What's like what you're talking about. Guys that sit there and say, okay, hey, I've done all these things, and they sit in their office all day, right? And they never come out and shake the guys, their employees' hands or thank them or anything like that. And I get those guys, those higher up guys, the general managers, stuff like that. They've got a lot of stuff to do. I mean, they do. They have to go through financials. They have to look at all the expenses, look at every bill that comes in, and make sure they're not out of whack. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a reason why they have the office. I mean, they got a lot of stuff to do. But what's more important than your people, than your customers? Nothing. And I think, and so it's you forget those things because you get caught up in looking at the bottom line. And we've talked about that before. And
100 times.
It's sad to watch. It's I don't know if it's sad. It's frustrating to watch, because I know right now if you and I walk back in that situation, we could
not gonna happen.
I know that, but we could fix that in a heartbeat. We can't, because that's our mindset.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, we're sitting over here in a small store, and
But guys,
we
we're not perfect leaders. I mean, shoot, we're so. He's 51 years old, making some of the biggest changes of his life. Now that he's got a little bit more freedom to do so. I mean, and I'm 40 years old. I'll be 41 in August, and I'm working my butt off to do things. But we're also doing things we've never been able to really do before.
I think it goes back to, you got to look in the mirror and you got to decide, okay, hey, am I doing something that I love to do?
Yeah.
And that's the first thing. Do I love selling cars? I love selling cars. I keep driving different cars because I love cars, right? I like, okay, check this car out. I fall in love with a new car. It could be 15 years old and I haven't been in one before. I also love meeting different people. I mean, you get to meet different people and talk to them and do different things with them. And so you got to love that type of that part of the business. And if you don't, well, you sure as hell shouldn't be in a management position.
Well, here's the common mistake that we all make, right? We start chasing a dollar amount, right?
Yeah.
And that's society that pressures you into.
What's the Bible say about money?
It's the root of all evils,
100%.
right? So, there's huge truth to that, right? I mean, it's all true. God spoke it, right? So, it's all true. But here's what people they forget. They start worrying about debt. Okay, well, let me tell you something. That's not ever going to go away unless you make it go away. Okay. And they start getting this anxiety about themselves and psyching themselves out almost as if it's a fear that you can't go out and do what you want to do and have the life that you want.
They need to read this book, right? It talks about that.
Yeah.
And what you've got to get over is that fear that it's just money.
Right.
That's all it is.
And I'm not discounting the dollar figure in the United States. I know people need that for means.
Well, what happens is when you're in that position, the money's controlling you instead of you controlling the money.
Right.
And that's where it's.
People get in these jobs where, frankly, I hired a lot of guys that in the car business. I used to be like the worst about just hiring anybody in the car business.
Right.
Because I'm thinking, if this guy knows he's going to work 80 to 90 hours a week, miss out on his family and family functions and all this stuff, and he's coming to me to train him, I'm going to give him my best, right? And I hired people that are wrong for the car business. And that's across any job, There's people that are happy to go work at like McDonald's that are really good at working at McDonald's, and they actually pay pretty good now from what I hear. Who are good in that environment. So your first priority when you go out to find a job is you got to really figure out what you think's going to make you happy, and then do it. And then as you progress through that, you'll find new avenues to make money.
Right. So one of the gentlemen that called us, I was talking to him about that. I said, here, what you've got to do is when you go out there and look for a job, don't let them interview you. You interview them. Make sure this is the right fit for you. Ask them about, and I think I talked about a podcast about this before. Ask them about their culture. What do they believe in? Where do they see themselves in 5 years? Ask them what kind of books they're reading. I mean, if I'm going to go work for somebody and give them that kind of time, brother, I'm going to make sure this guy's a leader.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for just another job. That's what's great about the car business or sales in general. You can sell anything if you know.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit there and talk to a guy who goes, oh, yeah, I can just come in from 3 to 6 every day, and I'm out at the farm hanging out, and I don't read any books or do anything or any of that type of stuff. I just sit there and just do what I want to do, and you don't want to. Yeah, you're good. All right, Kyle's gone. I want everybody to know this is my podcast. It ain't our podcast. He starts this thing off. I don't care. It's all about Matt Maxwell. It's all about me. My podcast, okay? You guys remember that. I'm the one that got the 1 million hits, the 1 million views, okay? That little Kyle over here, the walrus, Fat Matt. Check in.
So
I tell you what, though, he's been knocking the heck out of the golf ball. He's practicing. He's learning.
I love watching the old man swing.
You know what's nice with Brad and I? You guys get to play from the whites, and since we're 50 and older, we can actually play from the yellows in a tournament, and that's good, right, Brad? I mean, we're up about a little bit in yardage. I still hit houses, but it doesn't matter.
No, what that means is you get to tee off a little closer to the hole. That
100%.
doesn't mean you're up. We've seen you hit.
Right. Houses.
Yes.
We talked about this. All the neighbors and everybody love seeing me come play because they actually get to collect my golf balls.
No, I am proud of Brad, though. His just short period, and I'm talking like weeks into the golf game. You see some improvements out there.
Yeah.
He had some. He was hitting the ball the other day pretty good. So
yeah, he's doing a good job.
Just making contact and not giving up.
I think I'm gonna start calling him. Who's he look like in the golf world? The senior tour. Fuzzy Zeller.
No, he looks like Stone Steve.
Oh, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
That's right. Stone Cold.
Brad, he could be in a charity tournament.
That's right. We're gonna have it. Huh? Just drink a beer and slam it and crush it on your head. Right? I know what he does. That's awesome. So, okay, where were we? We were talking about leadership, right? Guidance, leadership, and how bad it is. No, what were we talking? We were trying to finish. We need to kind of finish up our deal, but yeah. Anyway, we're talking about the guys that were giving us a phone call and stuff like that. So, I guess I will just leave it at this. Said, those guys did make a decision. They did end up leaving where they were at, the situation they were in. They called me afterwards and thanked me because I didn't tell them to leave. I didn't say that to them. I just said, hey, you're going to have to sit down and write down the pros and cons and figure out what you want to do. There's nobody can tell you what to do.
Right.
And they did do that, and they decided to make a decision to leave. And I think they feel like it was a good decision.
I will never tell somebody to quit their job.
No.
Because I'm not responsible for providing them their next.
Right.
But I will tell you, in any situation that you're in life that you're not happy, it's the change solely comes on you.
Well, you're one of the guys that you worked for was Mr. Mavis, right?
Yep.
What was his famous words?
Change people or change people. And I do think since COVID that the world, when it comes to hiring, and I get the whole, the government screwed all kinds of wages and stuff like that up. But I think people have become scared to continue on with what they were going to do pre-COVID thing, and
You talking about development, or are you talking about?
Well, I think these companies have gotten lax because
they made too much money.
They hired on a bunch of people, right? Okay, they hired on a bunch of people, and here I'll speak only on the car business terms. it was easy in COVID to make a good paycheck in the car business.
You didn't have to know anything.
It was exactly
You
the
walk
opposite of what everybody thought it was going to
Here,
be.
I'm going to get on this a little bit. This is a great topic. You know, I had some leadership want to sell cars when we were over sticker on new cars, and I said we're not doing it. We're in Springfield, Missouri. I'm not selling. And this leadership's in Dallas, and they weren't from. You know, I said we're not doing it in Springfield, Missouri. It's wrong. I said I understand when you're in a big market like Dallas or Phoenix or something like that, where you've got millions and millions and millions of different people. You're never going to see these people. They don't sell cars down there to build long-term relationships. It's all a number. We're in Springfield, Missouri, Nixon, Missouri, and we're here to build relationships with people. And I think that's the way that you should do it. Well, we didn't do that. So our profits, we didn't look the best on the P&L report. We weren't running $15,000 a copy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so we were catching some flack for that, but I didn't care. And I said, these people are going to come back to us and want to trade these cars in. And they're going to be they're going to be upset if they paid $10,000 over, and then all of a sudden the market shifts, which what's it doing now?
You're right.
And then they can't get out of their cars, and we force these people in a bad situation. I said I just didn't want to sell cars that way, and
it's crazy to me too, because I've got a lot of, obviously in the car business, and I try to be a good guy to people, but so I've developed a lot of relationships with people who do things, you know, vendors and things like that to help us out in our everyday operations. But I also have a lot of guys that are car dealers, you know, and I just kind of turn a deaf ear when everybody always, if you're a car guy, they're always going to walk up to you and ask you how business is, right?
Right.
Okay. And I've given them the same answer for probably the greater part of a decade. When they ask me, I always say it's good, right? Okay? Here's the thing about the car business. It has ups and downs. Here's the thing about any business. It has ups and downs, right?
Right.
But if you're doing the right thing and taking care of people, you're not going to feel that kind of pressure, right?
Right.
If you're doing the processes and stuff that you know how to do, I mean, we're a small business, so it doesn't take us as much to really survive here. And we've been faced with situations where we could, you know, really make a bunch of profit on something. There's no sense in doing it. There's no sense in doing it.
There's nothing wrong with making profit.
Fair.
That's what
money.
Right. You're in business to make a profit. I mean, that's anything, right?
Right.
But to sit there and take advantage and be greedy and take advantage. We sold I'm not going to name any names, but you know, we had a Corvette on order for a gentleman, and the Corvette, we couldn't fill the order, but another Corvette came in, and we agreed to sell him this Corvette at MSRP. Another Corvette comes in, and somebody else, another boss came in and said, no, we're going to sell him this Corvette. What he wants for $75,000 over MSRP. Now the customer, it's his decision. So he's part of it, but he ends up paying that, and I'm sitting there going, I just think that's just bad. That's just bad business. I mean, they're chasing. You're making enough money on the Corvette, and yes, at that time we're in COVID. And yes, we're not building that many. Okay, but come on, guys. I mean,
you do not need a car bad enough. Okay, you don't need a car or anything in that manner bad enough to do business with somebody that's going to do bad business with you.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a fine line, right? There's some people out there that try to take it.
If the Corvette is, they're building 100 Corvettes and it's one of one,
right?
And they're never building it again. Okay, the market on that's a different deal.
Right.
They're not getting rid of a Chevy Corvette. Chevy is it's the Silverado and it's the Corvette. That's what you buy. I mean, that's what Chevy's known for, right?
Right.
And to sit there, and I get it. I said they weren't building that many, or you couldn't get that many out there. So the dealers decided to do
it wasn't a forever thing. I mean, we
look at it now. We saw a Corvette run through the auction today. That was you know what they used to pull over MSRP. That vehicle today was $20,000 less than what the MSRP was. It only had 4,000 miles.
Yeah.
The market shifted.
Yeah.
And I, you know, of course.
That or people's gotten smarter. I don't know.
Well, yeah. I just think that's just a, I'm glad we got out of that situation. We price our vehicles here fair. There's nothing
But
on
it's
here
with
that's
anything,
out of-
okay? It's
I don't
with
like.
anything. When people earn their money and they go somewhere, I don't care where it's a cheap restaurant or a movie theater or a grocery store or whatever. If you're going to go there and get treated poorly when you're spending your money, just walk away. There's other
100%.
options.
There's no need to get
Right?
mad. either.
Amazon's making billions off
There's
of
no
it.
need for
right?
them to get mad either. That's one thing I've noticed with society. If they don't get their way, they throw a fit. You don't need to throw a fit, okay? You don't need to get angry.
Just
you don't
choose to do business with
just sit there
somebody
and
else.
say, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm going someplace else. And this, there are other people that are throwing fits and saying, hey, you know what? You don't need to do that. But it's we kind of got off track a little bit. I'm glad that those guys did reach out to us. I'm glad they decided to move on. But I'm also concerned the fact that some of the leaders that we train are going through this. And I hope, I kind of reached out
We
to
attempted to train them.
Right. Well, that's true. I hope that they look in the mirror and they say, okay, hey, when you have that many people leave you, when you have people leave bad managers, they don't leave bad jobs, right? When you have multiple people leave, and when I say multiple, this place has probably had dang near 50% of their staff leave in the last few months. If you're not looking in the mirror and you're not raising a flag going, okay, hey, we need to really sit down and come to the table and look in the mirror and figure out how to change that, then you're not going to be in your position much longer. You're going to struggle, but you're going to have a hard time hiring people and keeping people. And I know what they're doing because I've done it when I was young. I became a general manager when I was 32 years old. And I was only in the business for 8, 9 years before that. And I walk in there and I thought, okay, hey, I can do anything in life. And I wasn't ready to be a GM. And I lost a lot of people, and I never recovered from it because everybody in the town found out that, hey, don't go work for this guy. He's a tyrant, or he doesn't like this, or all the bad, they talk, right? And so nobody in the car business wanted to come over there and work. Well, then I'm like, well, I'll just hire people. Well, it takes you a few years to be really good in the car business and really understand as a salesperson how to be very good in the car business. Not just hey, I'm going to walk in there and I'm just going to be great.
Right,
you might have success selling cars, but you're going to struggle at one point, and you're going to have to learn how to figure that out, and you don't know the basics well enough and all that type of stuff. So to watch them, what they're going through over there, I've seen it before. I've been through it before. And that's where I'm like going, okay, hey, I hope that they would look in the mirror and listen to what we're talking about right now and slow down and say, okay, you know what? They're right. Let's sit down and bring the leaders to the table. Don't worry about title. Mm-hmm. And say, guys, we've lost 80 people at our dealership within the last 6 months. Let's be real with each other. Why? And I'm being straight up honest.
And here's the
change the culture.
situation that I like to talk about, okay? So you get in those big conference rooms and somebody asks you the question that Matt just asked, why? It gets very, very silent and uncomfortable, right? And when they do say stuff, they start pointing fingers, or they walk out of there and they're the mayor of Mohicanville, right?
Right.
And they start saying, well, it's actually so-and-so's fault that this happened. No, here.
It's everybody's.
If you're a team of managers, it's your responsibility.
Right. It's everybody. That's what we were good at.
People make mistakes. So.
Well, when we struggled, what did we do? We would pull in and say, okay, I'd be like, okay, I screwed that up.
Not nearly as calm, but
but
his blood pressure was way higher then too.
Yeah. It's 128 now. But anyway, but see, being in the business 27 years, I've learned how to outgrow that, and that's what I'm saying.
He's not a very fast learner.
You've got it's called experience. You've got new guys in new positions over there that are extremely young, and that's what BHA is kind of going for, is these younger guys, and that's great. But there's going to be a lot of growing pains with these younger guys because they've never been taught how to handle people, and they've never been taught how to be good leaders. And so the quickest thing to do is I'll just replace you, get rid of them, cut them loose, get out here. But they haven't done the one thing that they're supposed to do. Spend the time with them to try to develop them and then know that they maybe are in the wrong position. But what they also should be doing, if they're doing their one-on-ones and they're getting to know their people, like we said earlier, there's 7 businesses or 8 businesses inside a dealership. You're telling me you can't reallocate that salesperson to another position in the store to fill another need that he might be successful in?
Well, it should be an insult. I mean, there's some situations, right, that come along with an employer and an employee where an employee would need to leave or be fired. But I'm telling you, it's very far and few between. If you cannot figure out how to save that person or put it, and to me, it's an insult. It's an insult when somebody quits me. It's an insult.
Yeah, it's
right?
personal. I mean, it is. You have to look at it that way. You have to say, okay, well, how did I fail this guy? I failed him. He's quitting me.
And
so how did I fail this guy?
In sales, I'm just going to wake some people up with this. But in sales, do you think that those guys are going out? I mean, I would say a greater portion of advertisements word of mouth, right? So you think that they left their job unhappy, and they're walking out on the street going, "Hey, go over and see so and so. He'll take care of you. He didn't take care of me, but he'll take care of you."
Well, how about their family?
Right.
I mean, the wives and the husbands or whoever's at home, they're doing the same thing. They're telling you to quit because you're coming home miserable.
Right.
So, excuse me. So I think what they're gonna. I mean, I don't know. I feel bad for them. I do. Because I spent a lot of years over there, and I know what some of those employees are going through, and I know what some of the leaders are going through, and I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for them that they're not looking in the mirror and they're wanting to make the change. That's what I feel sorry for. Now they're in their own situation. They
well, the change is making them
right. So
right?
It's just funny because we're hearing a lot of people watch this podcast. We went through and they're learning, and they keep saying, "Hey, we're learning some stuff from you." Well, guys, we're not prophets or anything. You know where we're getting this material from? One, we have had coaches. We paid for coaches. We went through training. We read books, and we talk about what we read all the time. I'd say, how often are we? I think every morning I grab you and say, "Hey, this is." You ask me what chapter I'm on. I'm like, "Man, this chapter here, listen to this," and you've already been through it, right? So you're like, I'm like, yeah, and that's how we become better. We're not perfect by no means. We still have a lot to learn, but that's how we're becoming better.
I think I have about 5 books that I listen to, and I'll welcome anybody if they want, and I'll share them with you. But there's 5 books, Bible being one of them, that I revert to several times throughout the year. I read a lot of other books, but those books I go back to, okay? And some of the books, well, all of what Matt's talking about are my top 5 books that I go through, and they help you with any aspect of your life. Doesn't matter if those books aren't related to age, okay? Right. They're very, very good books. They were all books that I found reading other books, right? And then I've downloaded them, or I use Spotify to listen to them. But they're great tools, and I keep them in there. And when I'm finding myself in a rut, I listen to the book that I think applies the most. Yeah. You know, and
that's great. That's a great thing. So, if we're getting the wrap it up deal, but this is another thing we'll talk about maybe in the next podcast. But if
we got some guests coming on here in the next one.
Well, we're excited about our next podcast too. So I mean, next things we got to do. We got Sucker Days coming in this weekend, so you'll see us down there. We'll probably do a podcast live on Sucker Days. We're going to be.
We get to go give the check to the veterans on guide service
Saturday.
Right? So
we're going to go do that, and then plus we're selling cars. We got great inventory. But and then after that we've got the golf tournament, the charity golf tournament coming up in June.
And we'll be talking quite a bit of that. Right. That's a good one for us too.
So we appreciate everybody taking the time to listen to us, and we're going to see you next time, right?
Go out and be a better person.
That's right. Do what you do. Talk to you later.